Welcome to another broadcast of Habits and Money. Today I have an exceptional talent in studio. His name is Peter Feliskini.
Pitch Deck 101 LLC, out of New York, do more than just support our clients to pitch their businesses to investors access working capital at 0% APR. We also support our clients to grow and scale their businesses faster and cash flow optimize. Pitch Deck 101 LLC recent partnership with 10X Branding Marketing LLC and Global Capital Inc. out of the USA has enabled us to form unique partnership with multiple financial institutions, which means we can do even more to accelerate the success of our clients. Let Pitch Deck 101 LLC give you the support you need to pitch to investors, access capital, access new markets, and grow and scale your business. Contact us now on 332-235-1099 for a free consultation.
And in the event that you have never heard about Peter Feliskini, this is a program that you really want to listen to. Peter, he has a rich history as an academic. He has a bachelor's in business administration. He owns his business and he has been in business for over 27 years. And guess what? He has been helping many rising stars in business to optimize their pathway to business success. Do join me in welcoming Peter Feliskini as we go into learning more about Peter. Peter, how are you?
Very well. Thank you for the invite.
I must say it's a tremendous pleasure to be talking with you today. And I'm so excited to talk with you because you have an exceptional talent. Today, we're going to be talking about energy and how to use energy to position yourself for success. We're going to be talking about so much more. And I'm so excited to learn, pick your brains a little bit and see what I can take away from myself to better what I do. But Peter, let us begin our conversation today by talking about your academic achievement. You have a bachelor in business administration. What really inspire you to study in this field?
Yeah, it was kind of a must for me because I come from a family of business people, and the bachelor degree was the minimum degree that I could get away with. Everyone expected me to go and study further. However, I opted for tutors. So after my bachelor's degree, I had many tutors in different fields that helped me learn more. And I'm still using mentors to this day, and a lot of coaches, a lot of consultants to help me advance in the fields that I feel that I have to develop. I'm very much goal-orientated, or some would claim too much goal-orientated. So I started to gathering knowledge based on my goals. So if I have a goal that I will build a house, I will try to get as much knowledge from construction workers and everyone so that I can undertake the project. And what was clear to me from a very early age is that if you want to be good in managing people, you need to understand what they work and how they work. Develops what is important, how they see the world. So whenever I wanted to manage a team, I first become one of the team members to understand the processes behind the scene that maybe as an investor you don't see. So I have, despite working in financial sector for over 20 years, I have a lot of hands-on advice because I always strive to understand processes before I would invest in anything.
We will talk about that shortly because I recognize that you also brand yourself as perhaps one of the distinguishable personality under the flagship of omniscience, which means the state of knowing everything. We'll come to that shortly. But just before we come to that, tell us a little bit about, you spoke earlier on about your family, and the lowest bar for you to reach was to have a bachelor's in your studies. But which country are you from? And tell us a little bit about your country.
Yeah, I'm originally from Slovenia. A little bit of history would be that I come from Italian family. Where I stay, it used to be first Austria, then Italy, then Yugoslavia, and now Slovenia. So we are basically a mix of, or at least my family is a mix of Italian, German, Slovenian, and French heritage. That might seem cool, but going to a family dinner was speaking in like 4 different languages.
So you're multilingual.
Yes.
You're bilingual. Interesting. Peter, I must say that the work that you're doing at Organ Wellness is tremendous. And let me tell you a couple of reasons why I'm saying this. Traditionally, as many corporate entities set about looking at ways to enhance the workforce performance, they look at an academic thesis. Now, while the academic thesis is very important, looking at the wellness, the foods that the team are eating, the rest that they're getting, the sleep-wake cycle, there are many other things that needs to be looked at to optimize human performance, to optimize IQ level, to optimize cognitive performance. And the work that you're doing, I do believe it is cutting deep into this type of research to really show leaders in business that there is a better way, a smarter way to enhance human performance in the organization.
Yeah, I would, when you talk about academics' achievements and their discoveries, I'm following that closely. I also work couple of these academic institutes. I'm not allowed to disclose because of the NDAs, but we're working closely with, let's say, top performers in the field of neuroscience, especially developing potential new products that would benefit schools, companies to improve cognitive abilities of the people.
Great. All right, Peter, can we talk a little bit about habits that influence success? You have been in business for over 27 years. What did it take for you to be as successful as you are in your field?
Okay, I was not successful for all of my 27 years.
Okay.
However, I can say that I've successfully survived until today, so that is a kind of success. I'm a member of 5 a.m. club, so every day I rise early. I start my day with stretching and then some intellectually challenging tasks like writing books or preparing content. Then I would go out in a field, so about seven-ish. I go out, walk the dog, check on the farm if all the animals are okay. In about an hour, I'm back, do some administrative tasks and similar. I then have lunch, siesta. So every time after lunch, I take a nap or at least read something that is not work related. And then in the afternoon, I usually do all the communication and meetings and stuff like that.
So that's like a daily routine.
Yeah, and especially important is that before, when I started, I would grind. Right now, I believe that I have managed to organize my day in a way that I don't need vacations, special days, and anything like that. Because in my day, there's always exercise, there is always a rest, and it's a mental rest and also physical rest available. I sleep at least 8 hours a day. I eat once a day, except if we have some events or stuff like that I have to travel and then I have a speech and then I'm invited to the dinner. I cannot go to the dinner and say, okay, I will not eat because of my eating schedule. But I usually skip lunch if I have a dinner. So I eat once a day, taking really good care of my insulin levels. I do a lot of massages. I do, chiropractors, all this stuff. I do believe that body is extremely important. So I'm taking really good care of it.
I really admire what you do, right? Because some people believe that the more you eat, it's better for you, but the less you eat, it's better for body and mind. So I love the strategy that you're actually using. Peter, you talk about the book. You have written the book titled Time to Close Your Factory of Broken Dreams. Can you talk to us a little bit about that book?
Yeah, I would like to discuss the title first, because I think it's extremely important.
Go ahead.
So I was thinking about how should I describe myself and all my failures. And I was extremely successful because I would manage a multi-billion dollar fund in Switzerland, and I would be CEO of a company that did 600 million a year in similar. However, I was always frustrated. And my dreams, even if I did achieve them, I was never satisfied. Probably I achieved maybe 40 to 60% of my dreams. Because I did not achieve 100%, I was always disappointed in myself, what I'm a failure. I have this problem, that problem, and so on. And I didn't know that because I would always set really high goals and dreams for myself, because at an early stage, as I said, I'm from a family that really spoiled me rotten, and they said, okay, to whom much is given, it's expected
Much
to
is
perform.
expected.
So you remember Kennedy, who said that, okay, we have everything, we have to perform. So my goals were sky high. I would achieve really high percentage of them. However, I was always frustrated, and all my dreams were broken, not because I slept under the bridge, and not because of that, but it was always something wrong with my dreams. I found really late in my life, not too late, but late in so recently, that I don't have broken dreams because of the dreams, but because how I go about it. And I didn't let dreams be dreams, but I would always have my dreams as a goal. That was probably the biggest source of frustration. We all know that frustration usually ends up in inflammation, in, different blocks.
Self-sabotaging and all of that.
What I wanted to do with my book, because of my background, I had this huge advantage that I could take 240 weeks to discover myself and to check everything and trial and error and try it and hire this coach and go to this seminar and everything. But most of the people right now are super busy with their life. My book is basically 12 weeks of organ wellness turnaround. If we compare 12 weeks with 240 weeks, that is a 20x on persons, and that is the value of my book. And I
I like
believe,
that.
and I believe I went into different disciplines, tried everything out myself. So every one of the 12 steps has there's also a story of my personal story, how I experienced that and how I learned on my mistakes, so that you don't need to make all the mistakes I did. And I believe that will be the biggest benefit of it.
I like that. I like that. How would you have all of this success? You're successful academically. You started a business. You are collaborating with universities. You are working with high flyers in business. You have all of this success. How would you define success?
I'll give you two definitions. So
Okay.
my definition of success: achieved goals compared to the planned goals. That is my definition of success. So if you achieve your goals, then you're successful. Let's say a reasonable, rational definition of success. However, the real definition of success, as I have recently found out, should be something that when you achieve it, it sparks endorphins. So that you feel success, that you know, okay, I am successful. Because it happened to me, I was extremely successful, young business person of the year, blah, 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 all this bullshit. But I never felt successful. I was always frustrated. As I said, broken dreams all the time, even if for other people I was successful. Success for me right now is that I achieve something, I'm proud of it, that I feel it, and that there are endorphins, and then that I celebrate this success. That is something that is important now. Success is not just about achieving goals, but you have to achieve the right goals that are coherent with your desires, with your values, and that you feel completed when you achieve a goal.
Do you have a blueprint for success? No. Okay. Can we talk a little bit about? I know you gave us some hints of how success didn't just happen for you. You felt frustrated many times, and you took 240 weeks out of doing the regular things just to detox and find yourself and rejuvenate again. I want you to help us to understand a little bit more of the challenges that you had to go through and to be as successful as you are today, because some people believe that success just happens, and I do believe in almost every case, success, there are many downs. Sometimes there's more downs than up, but you learn from the downs and you build on the downs, so when you get up, you stay up. Can you help us to understand some of the challenges you had to go through to be successful today?
Yeah, one of my early challenges were that I was dyslexic. and I'm still dyslexic today, but with all the tools that we have available right now, spell checkers and everything, it's not so obvious anymore. So this was one of my biggest problems in schools. Then I had a hearing disability and having a problem recognizing different tones. So that is the main reason why I have such a heavy accent, because I'm not able to replicate other people's accent because I don't hear it well enough. And learning 7 languages, that was a struggle, a huge struggle. Then the third frustration that I had to overcome was that I have huge problem with authority. And that was the reason why, instead of choosing a comfortable job and riding on my family's heritage, I wanted to do it all on my own, because I didn't want to listen to anyone. And that is also one of the reasons why I went into science. So let's say passionately, because I said, okay, I can one up you. Even if you are a professor at the best school, I can one up. I can learn more about the topic than you can, because you're married, you have a job, you have all this stuff, and I'm not. I can take all the time in the world. I can get the best instructors. I can do whatever I want. But that is out of frustration. That is not the right motivation.
Okay.
So that is just these mental blocks, if I may call them like that. This was somehow the biggest problems that I have challenges with. And I was raised in an environment where the man's word is his bond. And when I came to business, the world was not like that. And
got you. But as you look back at the things you came through to be where you are today, do you have regrets, and do you think the regrets hold you back, or does it push you forward?
I don't have regrets. I apologize to people that I did wrong to them, or I spent their money or something like that. I apologize, but it's a process, and everyone who invests money should be aware that the profit is just payment for the risks that you are assuming. Even if a lot of people have lost a lot of money with me because of my shortcomings and not understanding of the environment, it's just how it is. I try to compensate them in one way or another when possible, but it's just how life is. I don't have regrets, because if there was not, if all these setbacks would not happen, I would not be the person I am
that you are today. The next question I wanted to put to you, I want to talk about, you as an influencer. You are doing an excellent job doing what you do. You are a successful academic. You have a master's degree in business. You are an author. You are working with multi-billion-dollar organizations. You are part of many university faculty bodies. You have a successful business. You have all of these success. I really want to ask you, what really inspired you to become an influencer in this field? Because you're successful in this field, but what really inspired you to become an influencer in this field?
Yeah, it's frustration, because most of the influencers have this perfect life, and they have this perfect family, and they have this perfect car, and they have this perfect house, and they go on all these events, and they're always ready, and I'm not like that. I'm just a regular person with too much time on my hands, and I want to show people that you don't need to be special, and you don't need to be perfect. What I'm trying to show to people is be authentic. I am what I am. I'm not perfect, far from that. If you check my podcast, it's just we shoot on Zoom. I cut it on the beginning and on the end, and that's it. And it's on YouTube, because whoever cares about the content, I don't believe that the image is so important and the presentation is so important, because if you care about the content, you will also excuse me that I'm not the best in mixing videos or I don't have good intro or outro, or usually I don't have it at all, and stuff like that. So Just be
But we can
yourself.
fix we can fix that by just having an editor. But I love you and your imperfection.
I'll tell you about the editor. That is
Yeah.
how I overcomplicated when I started. I had a
Okay.
script writer, an editor, and blah blah blah, and everything. But right now, I can record a podcast, and in 20 minutes is online, and then my guest just checks it if he or she likes it, and I put it, I make it public. Before that, it was a process. I first had to record. Then I had to send file there. And then the editor and the noise reduction and all this stuff would take care. And it took me, in the best case scenario, 3 days. And in 3 days, with my mind, I'm doing something else. I'm recording my podcast on Thursday. And when you talk about habits, or when we talk about habits, I'm recording my podcast on Thursday. And all podcasts are out on Thursday, the same day. Because on Friday, I'm a different person. I do different things. That is also something that I want to present to people.
Yeah, we will talk about that outside of this. But I want to apologize on behalf of the person who was doing your graphic design and video editing, because perhaps they did a lousy job and they didn't motivate you to keep working with them. But what we have learned in this space, you're dealing with interfacing with algorithms. There are certain SEOs that needs to be done in compliance with the algorithm to help your reach and your impact. And there are many other things, but we wouldn't talk about this today. The spotlight is on you. But I apologize on behalf of that person that did a lousy job. You don't want to deal with the folks anymore. But Peter, I must ask you now, what impact do you want to make, and how do you want to be remembered? Already, I can see persons around the world, as they give testimony about what you're doing, they like your stuff. Is that the impact that you want to create? How do you want to be remembered?
So the only impact I want to create is right here and right now. I don't care about the future, because there will be other influencers in the future, much better than myself, probably. And there are other influencers that are much better than myself already in existence. My idea is just for people that find someone that is authentic and not perfect easier to relate to than someone that is perfect and not authentic. There is where I come, and where I have that is my goal by let's say being an influencer, talking to a lot of people. I'm all about authenticity. I'm not about perfection. Of course, I strive towards perfection, but being authentic is more important. I do believe that because I'm a bald, middle-aged man, I'm more relatable than someone who's perfect in a $1,000 dress and driving around in Ferrari. That is where I see my.
Okay. And the impact that you want to have on your clientele base, your community, how do you want to impact them?
I just want to help them identify their problems and identify potential solutions to their problems, or a way around it. Sometimes if you lose your leg in a war, I cannot build you a new leg. But you can still do different sports. You can still help people without a leg and so on. So you don't need to be a marathon runner if you don't have a leg. So just as I say, I don't want to build or to have your factory of dreams should not be factory of broken dreams. That is where I come.
Awesome. So you ensure that the dreams are not broken dreams, because you help them to build systems, that especially that 12-step approach that really helps them to get the right perspective, the right frame of mind as to what they can do to position themselves for success. Go ahead.
I would say not the right one, but alternative one, because
alternative.
There is just one alternative. What I'm offering is a bit different point of view, because I live in a different world to most of my clients, because I don't grind all the time and all this stuff, but most of my clients do. So I help them towards wellness, of course, also performance. I do believe the equilibrium of everything is important, and if you work too much, you need to compensate somehow. That is what I preach.
Yeah. Peter, I just want to emphasize this to the public, and want you to come alongside me and correct me if I'm wrong. So what your organization does, which is Organ Wellness, you provide coaching, and that helps people to understand how to detox the body, how to help the body. And by helping the body, how you're helping the brain, how you're helping to develop your cognitive ability, and how you're helping to develop your IQ level, which is your executive motor skills. So your organization, Organ Wellness, this is a large part of what your organization does. Can you correct me if I'm wrong?
You're right. That is the most important division is organ wellness coaching. We are producing organ accumulators, but this is not industrial scale. This is on one-to-one basis. Just we know the client, we know why they need the organ accumulator, what they want to achieve with them, and then we put it together for them. We are limited because we are using locally sourced materials, so we are limited to 12 units a year. Then I have another division that is occupying themselves with just developing research and developing, where we want to have as much scientific proof of what we are doing. We now have proof from the real life, but we now want to present our proofs in a scientific way so that a scientific community would start exploring this. Because I believe right now I'm working with about 25 people on a regular basis, but if we would put 2,000 scientists on this project, the potential for development is enormous. Other sectors, I'm looking for partners for organ wellness retreats in Europe. That probably there's going to be property investors. That is how we see this whole story to work out. And we're looking for companies that would like to use so-called alternative methods to improve cognition of their employees.
Their workforce. Awesome. On that point, Peter, what is the major future plans that you have for organ wellness? Can you talk to us about this? What is the major future plans that you have for organ wellness?
It's subject to funding. I'm about $1 million short right now on an organ wellness retreat in Slovenia, the first one to be completed. We're working on that. So every day we're working on that. And then it's the chain of organ wellness retreats within Europe and potentially also in Asia. We have first investors, brokers visiting us in January, and they're thinking of opening a retreat in Singapore.
On the point of funding, I'll talk with you offline. You are operating from the Europe platform. I have to touch base perhaps with some of my colleagues there to see what they can do. I haven't been in contact with them for a little bit now, but I know in the US market what we can do for you. So we'll talk about that. So if you plan to integrate your brand into the US market, we are able to bring funding to you regardless of the state that you're in the US. So it could be 50 states. So I'll talk with you about that offline and see what we can do to help you to push your vision forward. The last question, Peter, what are essential money habits for people to have?
I'm a stingy bastard. That is, I drive around in my 25 years old car. I had a car collection of Mercedes and Porsches, but I sold it on top because I was under the impression that price is going to drop, and it looks like it. Couple of months right now that my prediction was correct. I strive to own as little as possible so that the ownership of the things does not limit me. I do not have a huge amount of money or whatever I have available, I invest in R&D. That is how I go about money. I don't believe in huge money reserves, and I don't believe in huge liquidity. I do, as a risk manager, I understand have a minimum liquidity, but I'm not about investing, gathering assets, all this stuff. I did that most of my life, but for the last 5 years, I live with, let's say, bare necessities, and whatever pluses or surpluses that I make, I invest in organ wellness because I believe that most people will benefit of organ wellness in the future, and that is more important than me driving a new car or something.
All right, I'm happy to hear that part of you. Let us talk a little bit about you, Peter. You just explained that you spend a lot of time studying people. You spend a lot of time studying things. You pride yourself in pushing yourself to come to that state where you know, if not all, a lot of, that's a lot of, as commitment. But talk to us about, why do you challenge yourself to know everything?
So first, a disclaimer: I don't know everything, and I don't want to know everything. I'm just
Okay, I'm
it,
happy
it
to
would be,
hear that.
yeah, it would be too much. What
Okay.
I strive to achieve is not excellence, but at least high level of knowledge in multiple disciplines. Because I do believe that our world is composed of multiple different tasks and multiple different things that we have to do and multiple different jobs that we have to do. And right now, our society is pushing us to be in the direction to specialize for something. They would say you have to focus, you have to develop your ability to a perfection in one field. And I'm a contrarian. I do believe that every person should know as many things as possible. And because of my circumstances, I have this opportunity to try out many things. I would like to stress that I'm probably the biggest failure, because I failed in so many attempts in business, in so many attempts in private life, in so many attempts in science, in so many attempts in R&D. And I'm sure that not a lot of 44 years old people have failed so many times. But what I
But
take special pride in is that I'm still alive and afloat, and that I can be useful. Sometimes I joke with my friends that I'm not useless, that I can be at least used as a bad example. But that is a joke, because I'm also certified risk manager. And
okay.
I really know a lot about risks, especially because a lot of risk has materialized in my time. I can help other people assess and manage risks more efficiently.
I don't think, failing fast and getting up back and figuring out a better way of doing things is that bad. And I think one of the advantages of failing often and failing fast is that you get an opportunity to learn. You get an opportunity to learn. And I think that gives you a tremendous competitive advantage. Talk to me a little bit about your business. You have started your business, which is organ wellness. You are an organ wellness coach. Help us to understand what that brand represents.
First, let me tell you that about 4 years ago, it's now 5 years, I've experienced a severe burnout.
Hmm.
And burnout resulted in me being severely overweight and being depressed and unmotivated. Because there was not a program available at the time, I had to do it myself. First, I relocated back from Switzerland to Slovenia. I moved from the city to the countryside. And then I had a lot of time to get to know myself. I would like to say that before, like until 5 years ago, I was extremely knowledgeable in theory. And after a burnout, I had different experience. I saw that we people, we are not just a logical being, that we have emotions, that we have our body, that we have feelings, that we have anxieties, that we have blocks and similar. It took me 240 weeks to put myself back on track. And because I don't think most people have this, let's say, privilege that they can be out of society or
Did you
out.
say 240 weeks?
Yes, that's
Okay.
published. That is the main reason why I have developed organ wellness and organ wellness coaching. I was inspired by Dr. William Reich. That is an Austrian psychotherapist. He was a student of Sigmund Freud, that is more famous right now. And he was a generation of Carl Jung, another famous psychiatrist. And he was looking for ways to speed up the psychotherapy, because according to Jung, you need about 10 years of psychotherapy in order to take care of majority of your psychic problems or challenges or blockages, or however you want to call it. And I was following the work because William Reich was a bit controversial. There are a lot of sources about it, and some claim that he was murdered in jail regardless of that, I was able to copy one of his devices and make it fully functional, and it's called organ accumulator. And organ accumulator is a device that helps us really speed up processes in our body, mental and physical processes. So because I was successful with that, I invited people from different experts to test it, because it worked on me. For example, recuperation for my weightlifting went from 4 to 5 days to 2 days. And that was amazing for me. I was able to lift 20% heavier weights on my training. So that was immediate. Effect was basically immediate. My inflammation levels went practically to zero. And that is why I started to explore this working prototype further. And I, of course, got into medicine. I got into psychotherapy. I got into many different science like physics, especially because of the vibration. Because one of the measurements that we did in organ accumulator is what is the frequency inside. And we found that there's this, some call it Schumann's frequency or Earth frequency inside, that is really extremely low frequency, that by itself has a property of healing. And because I'm also certified energy healer, however, I'm not a typical healer who believes that you can live in the woods and just use a magic wand and do things. I always test my knowledge against the modern science. Modern science has already proved, especially in the neuroscience, so the physical body is also extremely dependent on our mind and our psyche, conscious and subconscious mind. And that is why I moved into psychotherapy. And of course, with all this, it came a coaching program. And now I have developed, as I said, after 240 weeks of exploration of my own mind and body, working with numerous coaches, psychoanalytics, psychotherapists, and similar, I have developed a 6 weeks turnaround program that helps ambitious people that are stuck turn their life around with a simple 12-step program.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about this 12 steps shortly. But for the 140 weeks, can you just help us? 240 weeks. Can you help us to understand what you did during that period, what you learned, and what convinced you that making that learning part of your business systems today, how it became that? Talk to us about what that experience was like.
When first with the burnout, I was in denial of my burnout probably for years, not for months. And then I had, because I would blame the economy, the current situation, my business partners, everyone to blame. But on the end, I had to assume full responsibility for the condition I was in. I started my journey with a diet and fasting. So the first thing that I did was clean my liver with different procedures, how to clean livers. And then I started with intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting. And then I would alternate between 3 diets. One is keto diet, low carb diet, and carnivore diet. That is how my body started to change. So from almost a 40% body fat, I'm now under 15%, and I'm 44 years old. So that is quite an achievement. That is, let's say, top 1% as fit as you get. Of course, professional athletes, running marathons and endurance athletes, they are much better. But I'm not a professional athlete. I'm just a person that did that for my body, because I believe in body cognition. So because my mind was stuck, I had to do something with my body first. It took me quite a long time to do it, to lower all the inflammation. And what I found out later on, now I know that I was severely depressed and anxious. And that was all because of my food and the way I went about life.
I really like that process, because what you did there, you detox the body. You reduce inflammation, and not only inflammation of the body, but you have inflammation in the in the brain. You have fat in the brain. And I think that that diet would have helped a lot, which I think would have helped to strengthen the executive motor skills.
Yes, it's extremely important that our mind is dependent on our body.
Yeah,
And if we cannot move our mind to go into different mode, the easiest thing to do is to move our body, and the mind will follow. So that was my idea how to go about it. And then I would go with the coaches. I had a lot of coaches because I used to work in consulting, and these industries are close. I went to a lot of workshops. I started a psychotherapy. I started my journey with hypnotherapy. All this, and I also got, become a hypnotherapist on the way. And then I
so
went into different energy healing practices, exploring them, working with them.
you did all of this during the 240 weeks.
Yes, that was really intensive treatment. And what I did, because grounding is so important, I'm still doing that, walking in forest every day with my dog. And on my farm, I take time off to be with animals every day and to be connected with the nature. Of
Great.
course, I also eat just, let's say, grass-fed meat and all ecological food all the time in order to lower the intoxication of the body, and that helped me a lot. What I didn't find on the market is a comprehensive coaching program that is
What,
sorry.
we're going to come to that just now too. What is your biggest takeaway from the 240 weeks of experience that you would have had? Am I correct when I say that perhaps I want to hear about that? What was your biggest takeaway? What was your
The
aha
biggest
moment
the
during this
biggest
period?
takeaway was that mind and body are connected, because
Mm,
previously or before the burnout and before this 240 weeks, I did not understand how important is the body. So I would focus, whenever I would solve my personal or business problem, I would focus on my mind, not on my intuition, not on my body. I did not understand that this holistic nature of mind and body connection. That is the
I
biggest
like that.
takeaway. The body is extremely important because the body also influences the mind, not just vice versa.
Am I correct to say that it is that whole experience is where your company is birthed, Organ Wellness?
Yes.
Or okay, help me to understand some of the project activities that Organ Wellness offers to your clients.
The number one product is a 6 weeks turnaround program. That is a multidisciplinary approach to person's psyche and to help people get unstuck, because people do not understand, or they have a hunch that they have some problems from their childhood, but the materialization of this problem is, or the visible consequence of this program is, they get stuck in business, they get stuck in relationship, they're not motivated anymore. And what I help them do is not just go to a typical psychotherapist, but I want them to find out the solutions for themselves. My program is specific because it's not that you cannot go or continue going with your psychotherapist, or that you cannot have your beloved gym coach anymore, or nothing like that, or that you shouldn't go working with your motivation coach if you start working with me. It's not like this. I'm inclusive. I include all your existing coaches and practices. If you do yoga, great. If you do affirmation, we'll just talk about affirmation to help you grow with that. So basically, all the practices that you have been doing previously, you can continue doing. I will just add additional information and additional, let's say, point of views that will help you utilize your existing knowledge in a much more productive way, that will do less harm to you, and that will also enable you to be happier. What I would call my as a as a title of my book, when you decide on my program, you decide to close your factory of broken dreams.
Well, we'll talk about that too, because you have written a book titled, Time to Close Your Factory of Broken Dreams. We'll talk about that just now. But I want us to talk a little bit more about the 6 weeks program. I want us to talk a little bit more about the 12 steps.
Yes.
That the program represents. Help us to understand a little more. What are those 12 steps? I'm not asking you to give us all the secret, but just help us to understand what
there is no secret. There is just a hard work. Yeah. And my program, so the 12 steps are divided in 3 phases. First phase is orientation phase. This phase is important because it helps people understand where they stand. Why is that so important? Because when we are depressed, when we have a problem, we believe that we are much worse off than we actually are. We focus on our shortcomings and problems and not on the opportunities. That is why this orientation phase is so important. Then another really important there are 4 steps. One is that we assess person's values, goals, and trade-offs. Trade-offs are extremely important and are usually not taken in consideration by motivation speakers and people that work with as life coach, because they just push for performance. The second important step is the assessment of body wellness. How healthy you are, and what is your body supporting you, or is your body stopping you from achieving your optimal performance? Then we start discussing, that is first time in the course, the difference between your conscious and subconscious mind, because a lot of people that have problems or that get stuck are usually stuck because of their subconscious that they don't understand. So we talk a bit about that. And then we check the blockages. They are usually from subconscious mind. Some blockages are also from conscious mind. And grounding. Because in today's world, where we use so much isolation, all materials, as you can see behind, are based on plastic. So they're good insulators. So we are insulated from the earth. Our, let's say, the best grounding place is earth. And we tend to build an environment around us to get insulated. Of course, everyone tells us that this insulation is because of the heat, because we would die, because if we wouldn't have sufficient temperature in the house and similar. However, that might be true. However, this has also other negative effects, especially that we are not connected with the earth. And that disables us from reaching the biggest difference in potential that is needed for the energy flow. And then when we go through these first 4 steps, I would say that the client is already very well aware of what is going on with them and how they can proceed and start working on the challenges that they have. And then we go into the adaptation phase. First one and really important step is in adaptations is forgiveness. We underestimate the power of forgiveness in our life. And this is one of the best hacks that I teach my clients. And usually forgiveness is something that when they learn, they make the biggest progress or the fastest progress just by forgiving themselves and people around them. Then the 6th step is gratitude. Gratitude is the most important attitude in the life or in business of every individual.
Well, I like what I heard. Peter, I must say I admire the work that you're doing, and I'm happy to talk with you some more in terms of how we can support your platform and help you to make global impact with your brand. Is there anything that you'd want to say that perhaps I didn't ask a question I'll give you an opportunity to say it now?
Yes, I would like to stress for the audience that life is a game, and you need to train a lot and to play a lot. And there are numerous coaches, and there are a lot of good coaches but be discriminate. That is my. So if you like a coach, go work with them. If you don't like, get another coach. Try as many methods as you need in order to be successful. That is what I would recommend. We live in crazy times. We are separated from the nature, and we are expected to perform as machines or even better. And just be yourself. Be as authentic as possible. I can do it. I'm sure everyone
can do it. Definitely. There you had it, audience. And today we talk with Peter Filiskini, and he's an expert in his field. His background shows that he has a Bachelor of Business Administration. He's an author of an excellent book titled Time to Close Your Factory on Broken Dreams. And he is the kind of person that will really help you to get unstuck from your broken dreams. So if you think you have a dream that you're not achieving, his expertise really designed to help you along those lines. What Peter also specializes in is really organ wellness. What I love about what Peter does is that he provides a comprehensive approach to the human development experience. He can work with you on the academic side, but then he's also aware that if he's not helping you on the cognitive side, if he's not helping you on the IQ, it cannot compromise, his recommendations on the business side. So he provides a comprehensive way of really edifying you on best practices that can push you forward in health, in wellness, and in longevity in your life. Peter, I want to thank you, man, for sitting with me today and sharing your knowledge and your experience with the audience. And I know this is the first meeting that we would have had so far, and I'm looking forward to so much more of this. And we can take pockets of your skill sets and we can really amplify it so as to ensure that the listening audience get a much better understanding in terms of what you're doing and how you plan to impact and transform their lives and ensure that they have a better, healthier life right now and they have longevity. So thanks for taking time out to be with me today.
Elevate your business with 10X Branding and Marketing LLC. Our expert team specializes in enhancing your brand's visibility and connecting you with your ideal clients. We employ strategies that increase reach, leaving a lasting impact and driving client conversion. Trust and credibility are vital in businesses, and excel in building them even with a limited budget. Our cost-effective approaches ensure you get the best results without overspending. Ready to boost your business cash flow? Contact us at 332-235-T99 and let 10X Branding and Marketing LLC guide you to success. Our focus is on elevating your visibility, which directly translates to growth. Experience the power of effective branding and marketing with us and witness your business thrive.
Thank you for the invitation.
You're most welcome, my friend.